Hey there, ladies and gentlemen. You are tuned into the Status Network. We are on the Lyve TV channel, and this is the Conversation Corner with your host, author Andrew Snorton. And let's have a conversation. We've got a great show lined up as usual, two great guests who come from different walks of life, as you've seen in our previous shows, covering entertainment, business, community, and more. So before we get into our guests, we're going to do a couple of quick announcements and then go ahead and roll right into our show. First off, we are definitely excited to have you as part of today's live broadcast, and we hope that you feel welcome and will enjoy your time with us. And this is what's going to help assist you during your visit with us. Make sure to download the free app, the Status Network, on Apple Store or your Google Play, and make sure that if you don't have those, to tune in to the statusnetwork.net to go ahead and watch this show live. Another thing that you can make sure to do in order to watch the show live includes making sure to add me at Facebook at author Andrew Snorton, as well as Instagram Live at author A. Snorton. So we've got a couple of great things, a couple of quick announcements before we get into our first guest. As a reminder, for those of you that do work in media or want to engage and interact with more people in the media, please make sure to mark your calendars for Sunday, January 13th, 2009 from 4 to 7 p.m. Status Network is hosting its media mixer. It's a great way to get connected with people not only from our network and our respective families of our television and radio stations, but across the board. So make sure to check us out. The address is 777 Cleveland Ave in Atlanta, Georgia, Suite 406. Had to throw that out there, that 06. And definitely make sure to check it out. And definitely make sure to do so. Now, real briefly about what I am doing and what is coming up on my end, on the author end, this coming Saturday, December 15th, for those of you that have an interest and a passion in writing, ranging from you being an aspiring to an established author and writer, poet, or what have you. I went ahead and extended by one more day, because I'm just that type of fella, the Lunch and Learn that I'm hosting this Saturday, December 15th, from 11:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. It will take place at a Taste of Paradise restaurant and event hall. The reservations will close out this evening, so if you are in the metro Atlanta area, you want to check it out. The cost is $25 per person, but with that cost, it includes your writing items. It includes your choice of either book that I've written, Deeper Than Your Deepest Sleep, Thoughts on Love with Joseph Snorton, which is definitely for the poetry lovers, and for those who are passionate about interviews, especially dealing with life's biggest daily challenges and overcoming them. 9 Stories of Faith, Volume 1, you'll have your choice of either book personalized or, obviously with the holidays, a gift for someone, and of course, lunch. So all that for $25. So we are very excited. I'm very excited. But enough about me. I am pleased to introduce our first guest. Oh my goodness. Entrepreneur, community advocate, motivational speaker, and author. All these authors in the building. Mr. Willie Cartwright, it's good to see you. How you doing this evening?
I'm doing great.
Great. Thanks for being on the show. And for our viewers out there, Mr. Cartwright, tell us a little bit about how you got here. Like, we see you where you are, but what were some key things that helped you get to where you are?
Well, as you mentioned before, I'm an entrepreneur. My wife and I started our hair care product line business about 10 years ago now, so we're going into our 11th year. I worked in corporate America for 17 years, and my wife for 12 years, and we decided just to become entrepreneurs in 2008. That's been our sole source of income since 2009. So that's how we got to the entrepreneur side. We do, outside of that business, you mentioned I'm also a motivational speaker, and I just completed my book. It was published a couple of months ago. So that's how we.
Tell us now. The first thing that you mentioned was definitely your corporate experience. Give our readers, not just readers, but our viewers out there, how did you know it was your time to pivot out of corporate and out of the, quote, security that comes with corporate to the known and unknown of being an entrepreneur?
Well, I won't say I was forced out. I've always had the entrepreneurial bug in me. The opportunity hit. I was, again, working corporate as a manager. A situation came up that presented itself an opportunity for us to pivot from corporate to owning our own business. We decided to take the chance, not only me, but my wife. Actually, my wife did it first, and I stayed with corporate an additional year after we started our business. The opportunity came up. I discussed it with my wife and said, let's just do this. Let both of us do this. She said, no question. Just come on. We'll both run this business together. And that was November 2009. And so that's what started it.
And a little bit, in going a step further, in regards to hair care, and of course, it's the proverbial, there's 1,100 people out there. What makes what you and your wife do under the lens of your hair care business a little bit different and a little bit more, let's say, accessible, to your client base?
Well, when we started our business, there wasn't as many hair care product lines out there. But our product line is natural-based product line. My wife created it. It's a system, so all of the products work together. We have, I think, 17 products now. We sell direct to customers. We sell to the retail stores, and we sell to other distributors. You can find our products not only here in the United States, but in Canada, certain parts of Africa, some of the islands as well. But what makes our product different is that my wife created it to balance the moisture and protein in the hair.
Okay.
So again, it's a system. So all of the products are designed to work together.
Okay. So like you said, you've got, for lack of a better term, you've got different things that work in conjunction or work in tandem. So it's almost, I'm not going to say, like you said, it is a formula. It's almost like what the best Kool-Aid is, water, either purple or red, and just throw some extra sugar in it, and that's pretty much it. So is it kind of, I know that's a very basic formula, but like you said, you follow things accordingly, and when you do that, you get your most effective and efficient use.
We have really good natural ingredients. So if we encourage our customers and other customers who are interested in our product. By the way, the name of the business is Healthy Hair Journey.
Okay.
The name of the product line is Hydrotherma Naturals, HYDRATHERMA Naturals. So Hydrotherma Naturals. We encourage any of our clients, all of our clients, or even if you're interested in trying the product, to read the ingredient list first.
Okay.
And so you'll find that there are natural, really great ingredients that go into the product.
Great. So it sounds like you've got something, like you said, natural-based, making sure people are able to walk through all those steps. And you can tell just from talking how passionate you are, and I think this is a good bridge in regards to motivational speaking. How did that happen?
That started, I would say, about 20 years ago, almost 30 years now. In Tennessee, I started with a mentor, and we worked with some young men at a high school. It developed into something that I really enjoyed and really loved doing, motivating people, speaking to people. And what I do is I give people the benefit of my knowledge, the things that I've learned, what I've come through. I don't want a lot of people to have to, as they say, repeat the same mistakes that I've made before or redo the wheel was already done. So I really enjoy the motivational speaking aspect of it.
And let me ask you this, because people can say, I'm a motivational speaker, and sometimes when you hear that, you're motivating for that moment. What do you do that's a little bit different where you're really, for lack of a better term, planting that seed and giving that person that nudge or that push or that encouragement to not only just feel it for that day, but feel it beyond that day?
I like to give people something practical that they can take with them. I just don't want to inspire you or motivate you for that second or that minute or that 15, 20, 30 minutes that you may hear my speech or my presentation. I want you to be able to take something practical and say, okay, if I do this tomorrow, it will begin to change my life for the better tomorrow. Also, I use examples of things that have happened in my life, and so people can look and say, well, if he is able to do this or get through this, then so can I. I oftentimes find that there are people that are going through a lot of stuff, and they don't think that anyone else is going through it. And when they hear my stories, they say, wow, I'm going through some of the same thing. And so now they see me on the other side of that story. So those are the two things that I think encourage people who are
And I think, and it sounds like one of the things I say whenever I bring a guest on, like people see you where you are, but they don't know what you've been led through in order to get there. So it sounds like with you being open and frank and just having a conversation with people, it makes you relatable, connectable, and like you said, just that alone is a better bridge for people to take something with them and put it to use.
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely.
So here we are, as you said before, entrepreneur. You've got your things going on in the United States and abroad. You've got your motivational speaking piece where you're really trying to do some seed planting. But now tell us a little bit about your book. And it almost sounds like that book is another example of you planting seeds. So share with us a little bit about the process behind your book, Upward Journey. If it's all right, could I hold that up there for the wonderful people?
Absolutely.
So first, this is the person that wrote it.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, look at here. And wait, there's stuff on the back. Oh, look at here, look at here, look at here. So share with us the process, like the rationale behind Upward Journey, and what are just a few of the key takeaways that would help engage our viewers.
Okay, so I wrote the book, and I wanted the book to be, I designed it, there are 9 or 10 traits that I believe are important for a person to become successful. And I'm not just talking success in financial, but I'm talking success in life. How it's different from other books that may be similar is that, number one, I use examples of my life, obstacles that I've overcome in my life to shine a light on these traits that I think are important. There are a lot of quotes in there from famous people, and at the end of each chapter, there's a summary of what I think the lesson was, or the important things that I take away from learning about those traits. But I think it gives people, number one, an insight into my life and some of the things that I've overcome, which parallels with when I speak. But also, it lays out, okay, these are the traits that I think are important to become successful. Obviously, these are not all of the traits, but these are some of the ones that I think are important. And so what I want people to take away from it, first of all, it is a easy to read book. You can probably read it in a day or two. Again, it's like I said, it is an easy read, but the traits, I want people to take a look at the traits. There are some things in there similar to make sure you pick the right role models, or being consistent in the things that you do. Continue to read, always educate yourself. So those are some of the things that I want people to take away.
And it sounds like this kind of parallels in regards to what you do with motivational speaking. Part of what you're doing, the seed plant, is share a little bit. I'm not going to call it exactly a memoir, but it's got elements of it in the fact that part of what you're doing to impart, we'll say, knowledge and some constructive takeaways is like, look, I'm opening up myself to let you know, hey, these are the things that I had to work through, or I had to be led through. These were some of the challenges or hurdles. And another thing that you mentioned earlier is that it's true. There are some people, because I found that with the books that I've done, there are people that feel like they're out there on an island and they're the only person dealing with this particular hurdle or this particular challenge. But when you're open up and saying, hey, look, I might not have been there exactly, but in principle, I've been there, and this is what I've been led through, and this is what equipped me to go through it. The key thing is you're giving people some constructive takeaways. Yeah. That's real huge and real critical.
Now, it sounds like if people are listening that you know a lot about the book, and that's the reason why, because Andrew Snoring was the editor of my book, so he did the editing on the book. Let me say this for 1 second. There's one thing that I want to add to it. The first thing in the book, it talks about defining success, or redefining success for some people. That's the first thing, but the first trait that I identify in that is dreaming, because I think it's important for people to dream. And on the back of my book, my tagline, and you'll find this on my website as well, is don't allow what you see to determine your vision. And so that's important, because as a kid growing up in public housing, there are a lot of things that I saw with my physical eyes, but my mind was dreaming about things bigger and larger. So the reading and the other things that I got that helped to nourish those things was bigger than what I saw with my physical eyes every day.
State that one more time, and before you state that one more time, what's important is, to varying degrees, people will emulate what they see, but you chose a different path and you wanted to emulate what you dreamed about. So again, repeat that tagline again for our viewers.
So again, the tagline is, don't allow what you see to determine your vision. So your vision is not about what you see with your physical eyes. Your vision is your dreams. It's what you hope to be someday in your life. And so don't allow the things that you may see every day the negative things in your life to determine to make that dream. So that dream has to be larger and bigger than that. So that's why that's one of the taglines that I use, not only in the book, but on my website and when I speak.
And it sounds like, well, not only that, just after hearing that tagline a second time, and just with what you shared from what you are doing, what you and your wife are doing business-wise, what you are doing in regards to wearing the hat of motivational speaker, in regards to wearing the hat of author, it's almost really like your mission statement. Because you think about on the business end, you had the vision to go where it takes you. And right now, like you said, it's taken you outside the United States, where just from travel alone, what, like 10% of the population will ever leave this country?
Yeah.
So, like you said, you're being a dream builder. You really are. You're being a dream builder, and you definitely need to be commended for that. And you and your wife working as a team and in tandem is the whole together everybody achieves more.
Absolutely.
So as we're getting ready to bridge this, and before we bring on our next guest, could you share with our viewers what are the best ways for people to engage and interact with you?
Okay. So my website is Willie Cartwright Speaks, and that's Willie with an I-E, WillieCartwrightSpeaks.com. If you want to email me, it's info@WillieCartwright. And if there's also another email address, wocartwright@yahoo.com. Facebook is Willie Cartwright, and Instagram is Willie Cartwright 1906. Yes, Drew and I are fraternity brothers. I am a proud member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, so the 1906. But yeah, Instagram is Willie Cartwright 1906.
Well, I tell you what, Mr. Cartwright, we appreciate you being part of this first segment. And what we're going to do, we're going to bring you back a little bit later after we bring our second guest. And for those of you that are out there, this is actually groundbreaking because this is going to be the first non-alpha that's ever appeared. So we're talking about achievement. Y'all know what I'm talking about. So at this point in time, we're going to go ahead and take a quick pause for the cause. And when we come back, we will have our next guest, just an equally impressive gentleman, seriously. And that'll be Mr. Jerry McRae. So sit tight. We're going to pause. And this again is author Andrew Snorton, and you're on the Conversation Corner. And we are back on the Conversation Corner with your host, author Andrew Snorton. Again, we are on the Status Network, the Lyve TV channel. And we are going to go ahead and move into our current guest. And we were kidding around, ladies and gentlemen, but it's all love and it's all good humor. But Jerry McRae, in addition to being a media specialist, librarian, actor, community advocate, author, is actually the first non-Alpha Phi Alpha member to ever appear. Yes. So shouts to our kinfolk from Bloomington, Indiana, IU, January 5th?
January 5th.
Exactly. Achievement. So you are definitely the epitome of achievement, good sir.
Yes, sir.
Let's get our viewers engaged in interacting and understanding a few of your steps in order to get here. So what were some key or pivotal moments that allowed you to go ahead and move in the direction you're moving?
A pivotal moment was when my son was born. Cameron, my first son, he was my motivation to start actually being an author. The inspiration came from him because my dad, he was actually a great father. But I actually lost my dad when I was 12 years old. Mm-hmm. But in that short amount of time, my dad, he did a lot of things with me. He taught me a lot of things. And he also showed me what it was to be a man. And I wanted to carry that legacy on with my son.
Okay, so as that bridge, and one of the first things you mentioned was an author. So let's talk a little bit about your book, Black Fathers Are Real, We Do Exist. And I'll go ahead and hold this up here. So like you said, you learned some valuable life lessons from your father. Mm-hmm. You're making sure to integrate those in regards to with your son, but how did you move to that next step of putting that in book form to help engage and interact and empower other people?
Well, I've always been a writer. I started out writing at an early age. I started winning a lot of contests actually in high school. And then on top of that, I graduated with a degree in creative writing and English.
Okay.
So I've always loved writing. And I thought, I just want the world to see this.
Oh,
so,
wow.
I reached out to a few publishers. I told them my idea. I had a lot of kickbacks, and then I had a lot of people that really loved it. And then I met this really good publisher in North Carolina, and he really loved my idea. And I had another friend here in Atlanta who actually was a great illustrator. And all African American guys, they're really good stand-up guys. And I thought we gotta show this to the world. Mm-hmm. So I put all my ideas and my thoughts together, and the book became a reality.
So share with us, really, it sounds like the combination of the life lessons, getting reignited with your son, mm-hmm. being able to see what is a way that I can help share these life lessons. So share with us the inroads you've been able to make with your book, because just looking at the title right there should be a conversation piece. So walk us through the inroads and the audiences that you're able to engage with to help really bring in some much needed, we'll just say, life lessons.
Okay. First off, there's like 3 basic points that I want to get at. They're not points that I just made up. I'm actually a librarian, an academic librarian, so
okay.
I do my research. So I have 3 key points that I really want everybody to know. The first key point comes from the U.S. Department of Health. It reports that 63% of teen suicides come from fatherless homes. 90% of runaways and homeless children comes from fatherless homes. Another statistic, 71% of high school dropouts comes from fatherless homes. And these are real stats from our U.S. government. And these problems can be tackled if we actually handle our responsibilities and mm-hmm. actually be fathers, be real men. And that's what I'm tackling in the book. Also, the importance of an education, the importance of family just spending time together and sticking together, the importance that a man should teach his child about financial stability. You need to be prepared throughout your whole life. Those are like some key points that I tackle in this book.
And it's interesting that you go ahead and mention those, because a number of those key points are some of the things, like you said, just from wearing your hat as a librarian, as a researcher, looking at the data, interpreting the data, and what are you making of it, and then what can I do to help chip away at some of these things. You make an interesting point. It is your presence and not always the presence. And especially during the holiday season, like you said before, it's almost like after the gifts have come and gone, it's your consistent presence.
Right.
And it seems like that is definitely one of the central themes that you've mentioned.
Exactly.
Share with us now, this is your first book.
It's my first book.
Share with us some of the, whether book festivals or signings that you have done. And then do you have any signings that you have on the horizon?
I've done some at the African American Book Fest. I've also done some at Gwinnett Baptist Church.
Okay.
I've done a couple at a couple of churches. And then there's also Casey Vennon. She has a lot of book festivals that I participate in as well. And when it comes to philanthropy, I've also given back my money that I actually made from my book to a local church in Gwinnett County.
Okay.
And that church is the name of that church. Sorry, it slipped my mind. But,
we know they know who they know. So,
yeah,
folks,
yeah.
he hasn't forgotten. It's just when you have as active and engaging a mind, and your focus is really on, again, the term planting seeds.
Right.
And engaging with people.
Grace Point Community Church.
There you go. There you go.
Grace Point Community Church. Shout out to Grace Point Community Church. I didn't forget you. Kind of a shaky moment right now.
Hey, look, charge it to his head and not to his heart,
Right.
ladies and gentlemen. And let me ask you this. As you have been able to support, like I said, give back, which is something that I know that I've been able to do with some of the work that I've done, giving back to these entities. When you're engaging and interacting, what has been the response? And I know you said earlier, and this is true, as you're getting to this point, there's going to be pushback. Oh, you don't need to do this, blah, blah, blah. But you, kind of borrowing from what our previous guest said, you had a vision and you focused on executing that vision. Right. So now that this vision is reality, what has been the response, especially with some of the topics that are needed? So what's been the response thus far?
Actually, it's been an overall positive response. I have fathers that actually come up to me and say, man, we need this in our community. We needed our voice to be heard. Also, every Monday on Facebook and Instagram, I have huge groups, followings up to 6,000 followers.
That's huge.
That follow me every week, and they support me. Shout out to all my followers. Black Fathers Are Real, we do exist on both social media sites. I highlight a real father, not a celebrity, not nobody you ever heard of, but real fathers in our communities that are really there for their kids, and they spend time with their kids, and they're proud of being a good father and showing their kids the right way.
Now, pivoting slightly in regards to author, and I know two of the other hats you wear are as a librarian and a researcher, and that definitely comes out, especially when you're talking about some of the key data. And as an actor, share with us, let's say on the acting end, real briefly, what some of the things that you have done and what's one thing that's on the horizon as wearing the hat as an actor.
Bad Moms 2. I'm actually in that movie. Right now, I'm trying to get like some bigger roles. Right now, I'm doing a whole lot of background work.
Okay.
So I'm getting my experience up, my foot in the door. I'm learning the business, and I'm actually learning all the takes and what it takes to be an actor. Right now, well, Bad Moms 2. Have you ever heard of Tales from BET?
Have not,
Okay,
but now I have now.
It's produced by Herb Gotti. I'm in that. A couple of other shows. I'm in The Hate That You Give.
Okay.
The Hate You Give. I'm the guy in the red hoodie. I like bash out the car window.
Oh, wow.
You can't really tell it's me, but it's me.
Look, if you look at the closing credits, you're going to see Jerry McRae on there. So definitely. But it sounds like even now, in being the researcher that you are, you're taking a practical approach. It's like, if I'm going to be in this and do this for a while and get to those bigger spaces, I've got to understand how all these moving parts work.
Right.
And it's really, like you're saying, it's really a process. Because some people are like, oh, I can just show up and do something. It's like, and as a researcher, it doesn't always work that way. Let me ask you this, and this is a theme that's come out with other guests. Patience, persistence, and perseverance. Share with our audience, just in general, regardless of the hat you wear, as a parent, as an author, as a librarian, as a researcher, as an actor, share with us, what do you do through those lenses of, patience, persistence, and perseverance to help get you where you are, and then knowing that that's a springboard that's going to help you get to where you're trying to go?
When it comes to patience and perseverance, not to toot my own horn, but today I actually won a customer service award
at
good. My library. I feel like that everyone should know that they matter. When it comes to your kids, they should know that they matter. You should spend a great amount of time with your kids and show them that you're there, showing them the right way that they should go, doing great things for them. When it comes to like my customers and my students that come in, you should show them that they care. You should go the extra mile to help them out and get their research done. And all walks of life, like you should just show people that they matter. And I think that's what's going to help me, like in the long run. I guess like when you go the extra mile, you would show people that you're worth opening the door. So maybe if let's say that I was at the Hate You Give, I was there for like over my hours, and I came back when I was supposed to come back. Well, they asked me to come back for another shooting, which I wasn't supposed to be at, but they saw my extra effort. And I mean, like, it opens different doors for you when you go the extra mile.
So it sounds like that extra mile parallels one of those old school sayings, hard work pays off.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to work hard.
Right.
Of course you want to work smart.
Yeah.
but bringing a work ethic and even just in talking with you, and this is with every guest, but you can feel the passion you have, understanding your purpose, being a person of principle, and especially understanding that what you do, you've got somebody that might not always say it, but is paying real close attention to what you're doing. So definitely commend you for all the hard work that you're putting in and continue to do so. Let's, as we're getting close to bridging, because we're definitely going to bring our first guest back, and we got a couple other moving parts we want to handle. Share with us real quickly on the horizon, especially in regards to your book. What is on the horizon for your next scheduled book signing or festival that you're going to end up appearing? Or is that something that's still a work in progress?
That's still a work in progress, but I actually do have a second book coming out, and it's titled Cameron and Brianna's Tour of Atlanta. This is also it's focused on the African American aspect. It's focusing on different places in Atlanta that has African American lineages, different businesses that were raised up here in Atlanta, different landmarks that you might not think have African American lineages. That's what this book focuses on. And Cameron and Brianna are my daughter and son, so they're visiting these different places.
That is awesome. That's awesome. So as we go ahead and draw this part to a close, and before we take our next break, please let our viewers know the best ways to engage with you and keep track of the good work you're doing.
The best ways you can engage with me on Facebook, Black Fathers Are Real, We Do Exist. I have a group there. You're welcome to join. Also on Instagram, Black Fathers Do Exist. You're welcome to follow me, and I will try to follow you back.
Okay, so at this point in time, we're going to take our next pause and our next break. This is Jerry McRae, as you see, well-rounded person trying to achieve in every field of human endeavor. So you had to shout you all out. So we're going to go ahead and take a pause for the cause, and when we come back, this will be your time for you to call in to engage with our guests. We're going to do a couple of other quick PSAs, engage with our guests, and then draw our last segment to a close. So sit tight, and you're on the Conversation Corner with your host, author Andrew Snorton.
Bang, bang.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and as we have both of our guests back, and before we do our group recap, there's a couple of quick public service announcements that I'll make sure to run real quick. First off is for Divas and Dolls. This is the event that was mentioned at our previous show by Faya celebrity host Tyra Satai. So this Divas and Dolls is a great event that's taking place in multiple cities across the United States. Very excited to announce that Tamika Tiny Harris, that's right, from T.I. and Tiny, the Family Hustle, is actually lending support as she'll be doing a special event on December 22nd here in Atlanta. But as you see on screen, Divas and Dolls, great event hosted by Tyra Satai, who was one of my guests last time, who is the brand manager for Doug E. Fresh, brand and road manager for Doug E. Fresh. So make sure to check that out. Our next PSA that I want to make sure that we announce is done by Lady Sonia, and this is the Music is Giving event, a decade of excellence. So this coming Sunday, December 16th, is going to be their 10th year of doing music instruction. And not only that, It's a black tie affair, ladies and gentlemen. So fellas, break out the tuxes. Ladies, bring out the awesome gowns and whatnot. As you see right here for the Decade of Sound with Lady Sonia music. And again, they are launching the Music is Giving Foundation. So the proceeds from this event will help establish this nonprofit that provides support for students in regards to business, entrepreneurship, and music. And you see right here, the mad violinist, 6-time Grammy-nominated award artist, is going to be the headliner. So make sure to check that out. And as we go ahead and pivot, please don't forget to pay attention to the ticker ads that are scrolling on the bottom of the screen. We've got some awesome businesses, awesome events, so make sure to take part in those. So now we are back as we're doing our closeout time with both of our guests, Mr. Willie Cartwright, Mr. Jerry McRae. You've heard these guys are really doing some awesome things, ladies and gentlemen. And we kid around a little bit regarding our fraternity ties, but real talk, we have to have multiple ways to reach multiple audiences. So we want to make sure that we embrace and support both of these gentlemen. Mr. Cartwright, now one of the questions that came up on here in regards to your book, let's see, Sherry Clark asked, will Willie and his wife write a book about marriage and entrepreneurship? Have you heard that question before?
We've heard that question before. We've talked to, a lot of people have talked to us. Just a little background. My wife and I, we've been married for 13 years. We run our business together, so we work together. We see each other together. People joke that, we're always together, but that's fine. We love each other. We really like each other, and we love each other. We've talked about it briefly a few times, but it may be something that we might really look into.
So that might be something on the horizon. So in other words, just like you're planting seeds, some of your folks are planting seeds on you. Jerry, to go back again a little bit, like you said, you're doing great work with your current book, but you're already working on book number 2. Remind our viewers again, what are some of the key focal areas for your upcoming book?
The key focal areas on my upcoming book, they're focusing on different places in Atlanta with African American lineages. And we talk about different businesses as well, like the Bronner Brothers. We're also talking about Mary Mac's Tea Room, also Busy Bee, different places like that that you might not hear in the that gets national spotlight, but they're very important places here in Atlanta.
So it sounds like what you're doing is not only are you continuing to work through the lens of family, but also in regards to some of these, they might be locally known, and there are some spots that might be known on a broader scale, but there's some uncovered jewels or gems, or to use terminology, there's some uncovered diamonds in the rough, for lack of a better term. Mm-hmm. Look at you. I need to work with you a little bit more often. So, gentlemen, one of the key things that both of you talked about directly and indirectly is your sense of vision. And remind our viewers, Jerry, what's one thing that you do that helps you maintain your vision in regards to this is where I'm really trying to go?
I think it all comes to the perspective of having a positive outlook on myself and a positive outlook on my race. I feel like Black fathers are very important in our community and very important in the world. And also when it comes to African Americans, I feel like there's been so much negativity on our race that people tend to overlook the great aspects and positive aspects that we have brought to the world. And I just want to highlight different things in our community that's worth sharing and worth other people knowing about.
And it sounds like part of your vision, what encompasses part of your vision, is changing that narrative and changing that paradigm. Right. So that way you can counter and say, wait a minute, there's examples that are out here. Willie, what would you say is one key thing that you do that helps you maintain your vision? I know, and I'm going to repeat what you said in your book, don't allow what you see to determine your vision. What is something that you do that helps you make sure that you're maintaining that? I know that's part of your motto and your mission, but what are some things that you do to help you maintain that?
Well, I'm a planner, so I write down everything. So it's important for me to always remember the larger picture, the goal at the end, because I look at it as a war, figuratively, metaphorically. Getting to your goal, I look at it as a war. And during that journey, there's going to be battles that you lose, but you have to stay focused on the end goal, which is winning the war. You may lose a battle, but you win the war. So from a planning standpoint, I'm also a quantitative person. I have a degree in finance, so everything to me is measurable. So if it's not measurable, then there's no way to track it. So there's goals, there's 3-year goals, 5-year goals, 10-year goals, and there's goals for different aspects of my life. And I use quantitative measures to make sure that I reach those goals, always remembering the end, keeping the end in mind.
And that's very powerful because, as a number of our guests have said previously, like you both acknowledged, there's going to be challenges that are out there, and that's part of what comes with the territory. And like you said before, what you just said, you're going to take a couple of L's every once in a while. And I think all of us on here can talk about some things that have gone smooth as sandpaper, for lack of a better term. But even with those moments, and this is something that previous guests have said, which is awesome that you're building on this particular narrative, you don't stay stuck there. And when I think about your statement, you could have stayed stuck where you were, but you chose not to. And the same thing on your end, you could have stayed stuck in certain situations, and you both chose not to. And because of that, that's part of what, when you're speaking with different churches and whatnot, makes you so solid. And then with what you're doing as a motivational speaker, and one of the things that we said, you're trying to plant seeds. You're not just, okay, let me make you feel good for that moment, and it's back to the same old, same old. So that's really important. On the horizon, the proverbial, where do you see yourself as this year's coming to a close? And I know some people have their New Year's goals and whatnot, but where do you want to see yourself go, this time next year?
This time next year, I'll see myself in different venues. This past year, I've been in, when it comes to churches and different book festivals. In addition to that, I've also read to different children. When it comes to Shelter in Arms, I've been to Shelter in Arms Learning Academy. I've read to students there. Also, Kip Way's Academy here in Atlanta. Okay. I've also read to students there and participated in book festivals there. I see myself participating more with children, and also getting more out in the community and meeting more fathers and try to have different events with real fathers.
Awesome. Willie, this time next year, where do you see yourself going as part of your journey?
My wife and I, we will continue with our, what I call main business. We have other business endeavors in mind that we're planning for. Obviously, the motivational speaking, we'll look for that to pick up and do more speaking engagements from that standpoint. Basically, just continuing what we're doing. If you allow me just 1 second, one thing I like to do is I like to commend you on your book, your idea.
Thank you.
In my book, one of the things I talk about is never meeting my biological father and how that affected me. Mm-hmm. And also having a horrible relationship with my stepfather for a number of years that he was in my life. So I think what you're doing is extremely important, especially for our people. So again, as I get older, I appreciate the relationships when I see between a black father and his son, because I never have that. I never had that, and I never will have that because I don't have any kids either. Mm-hmm. So I never experienced that, and I never will have an opportunity to experience that. But as a mentor and as a motivational speaker, I've seen how that being there has influenced those kids in the right way, and how not having a father there has influenced them in the wrong way. So kudos to you. Definitely appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you.
Definitely. And as we bridge this, because we know we want to make sure to give time for our next show that's coming up. So Cy, tell us, Cy, you're awesome. Thanks. I'm going to do better, real talk. Real quickly, close out with the best ways to get in contact. Then best ways to get in contact. I'll close out with me, and then we're going to basically call it.
I'll make it real quick. The book is called Upward Journey. You can get it on my website, williecartwrightspeaks.com, Willie with an I-E. You can get it on Amazon, or you can get it on our hair care product website, healthyhairjourney.com.
Okay. And Jerry?
My book is called Black Fathers Are Real, We Do Exist. You can find me on social media at Black Fathers Do Exist on Instagram, and also Black Fathers Are Real, We Do Exist on Facebook. I also had like a extra little pitch, if I may.
Real quick, because we
Had a
I
little
know.
extra pitch right here. I can't find the page, but on page 38 of this book, there is a part where I'm shaking hands with Mr. Tyler Perry. So if anybody knows Mr. Tyler Perry, let him know that there's a great author here who's interested in making this out of a cartoon.
Hey,
so
we'll put that out there. And real quick, let me go ahead and close out real quickly. Again, we are very appreciative of all of our viewers, for all of your support, for all of our shows. As a real quick reminder to keep track of me on Facebook, that's author Andrew Snorton, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, author A. Snorton. You can email me at authorsnorton@gmail.com. And what we're going to do is, since it's getting about that time, we need to go ahead and transition so we can prep for the next show, which is going to be Cy Tell Us. Many thanks to everybody who helped make this happen. And as we get ready to ride out into the sunset, this is author Andrew Snorton, the host of the Conversation Corner. And until next time, which will be December 26th, let's have a conversation. Take good care.